I'm going to carry our conversation forward, and the question I always ask when trying to do something, trying to change my own behaviour is, I wish someone else would do it instead of me having to change my behaviour. How can we go up the chain a bit and actually stop this problem to begin with? And so we've been asking this question. All of the experts that we've been chatting to, we've been asking, what should the New Zealand government be doing to actually reduce the production of waste in the first place? And the problem, what we've been hearing, is the problem looks like this. Our economy is the left-hand side. We've got a linear economy that makes stuff destined for landfill. So everything pretty much that we see in shopping malls and in shops is destined to just one day end up in a southern landfill mountain, building that rubbish mountain. An alternative that we need to work towards is this idea of a circular economy, where when we begin to think about making something, we already think about thinking about how it's going to be recycled and disposed of and turned into something new. So how do we see that bottle, like Te said, as a taonga again? So that's kind of the big picture. And what we've been asking the experts is, like, what's the lowest hanging fruit for New Zealand to start making this change? We've actually got a piece of legislation already in force called the Waste Minimisation Act that allows our government to choose products to begin a product stewardship system. They haven't used it. So it's sitting there, it's been sitting there I think about 10 years now, unused. The lowest hanging fruit is for our government to choose a product, kick that legislation into action, and actually start a product stewardship scheme. The best place to start, people seem to be telling us, is beverage containers, drinks containers. We use in New Zealand 6 million of these a year. So it's roughly 1.5 drink container per person per day in New Zealand. That's just single use, being thrown away. About 35 countries and regions around the world have systems that make this circular, so that capture the bottles and the cans so that they go back into being reused and recycled. In New Zealand at the moment, our recycling rate for these things is about 40%. In those countries that have a scheme, the recycling rate's about 80 to 95%. The way it works is it's a circular thing like this. Imagine that this bottle, when we bought it, cost 10 cents more, and there's a requirement from the government. All drinks containers under the new scheme would need to cost 10 cents or 20 cents more when we buy them. And that 10 or 20 cents more is destined for the end recycling of the product, the reusing of that product into the circular system. So we pay at the beginning 20 cents more, but we've got the bottle. So after we've drunk our drink, we can get that 20 cents back by doing the right thing with it. And then that sits in the system. The deposit place where we drop it off sends it to the recycling, and it captures so much more than currently is just littered around the streets. So Elise and I are going to demonstrate this, and we're going to need some help. We want to imagine that we had a bottle deposit scheme in New Zealand, and we're going to need some young people. I think probably people under 15 to be part of this. So Elise is going to be a bottle deposit place. So these would be little places where you can bring your empty bottles and get your 10 cents, so that you've been incentivized to recycle. So I wonder if any young people under 10, can you see any plastic bottles or any other drinks containers lying around this room that maybe we could use for this scheme to see how it might work? Can anyone see it? So if you're under 10, maybe you could see if you can come and find some bottles and bring them to the depository, and we'll just see how the scheme might work. People under 15. Oh, brilliant. Oh, started to get them? Oh, look at this. So this is people who just found these bottles, you know, they found them in the gutter, found them in their home. And so for each bottle returned, you get 10 cents. So suddenly the room's looking a lot cleaner, isn't it? Does anyone still see some bottles out there? If you're a bit older, that's fine. Bring the bottles in.
You guys get money. Okay, you get money.
Oh, you still got one? Oh, this is fantastic. So much recycling. So much recycling is happening. And so the way the scheme works is that it costs about half a cent per bottle for the industry to actually recycle these. The system it's done all the maths, takes that into account, and it's working in over 35 regions around the world. This is kind of some really low-hanging fruit that New Zealand could knock off quite easily. And once we do it with drinks containers, we can then expand that to a bigger system. So, are there any more out there? You done?
Why is it not done? Because in the Netherlands, 25 years ago, they already knew it. Why is it not done?
It has been investigated in New Zealand, but the government simply has not triggered the.
In New Zealand 60 years ago.
So we did it. We have lost our way and forgotten our history. Thank you for that reminder. Actually, when I was at school, there were can collections. So just imagine that this kind of deposits scheme existed in your community. Suddenly there's an incentive to go and do a litter pickup, and there's an incentive for community groups to actually have a gathering point for these bottles and actually use it as a fundraiser. And that's what happens in other places, and that's what we'd love to see in New Zealand. So our question for the government is quite a specific one, directed at the Minister Eugenie Sage, she's the chief boss of waste. She has that portfolio. So the question is, dear Eugenie, can you please introduce a container deposit system in New Zealand? She is supportive, she's just very busy. So we want to be pressuring her to ramp this up her priority list.